Everyone's watching Coach Prime in Colorado. Literally.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I am your host, Kevin Borwood. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about why everyone is watching Coach Prime and why there is so much excitement around Colorado. And then we're going to be talking about some Matt Rhule and Shedeur Sanders beef. There's been some ongoing verbal jabs, I guess you could say, or verbal explanations about jabs between the two. And then we're going to be talking about the Pac-12 and kind of how crazy it is that this is the way they're going out with how loaded it is. But yeah, let's start with everyone being in on Colorado. So I think before the season, people wanted to watch Colorado for three reasons. Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, for sure. They wanted to see if he could succeed, but there was also a large chunk of people that wanted to see him fail. I think there was a lot of people that were interested in seeing him face adversity because he's pretty much won at every level he's been at. He's won the World Series, Super Bowls, whatever it may be. He's done it all. And I think a lot of people wanted to see, and he won at the HBC level as a head coach, the FCS level. A lot of people wanted to see if he could not only come to Colorado, flip a roster, and then not only flip a roster, but flip it via the transfer portal. And they wanted to see him face the adversity or face the struggle of not being good right away. I think there was a lot of people that were like, Colorado is going to be good eventually, but what will Coach Prime do when they struggle? And I think that's a major reason that people wanted to watch. But now everybody's bought in. ESPN, Fox Sports are all bought in. Colorado is doing the rare or hosting the rare doubleheader of game day and big noon this weekend as they play Colorado State, which they should be. I would imagine they're going to be like 30-point favorites over Colorado State, who looked pretty rough, I would say, against Washington State. And I think now that they have, they're 23-point favorites. So I was close. Not bad. 30 points, 23 points. I think they'll probably win by 30. But yeah, everybody's in on Colorado. And more proof of that is, and the numbers have been very confusing. I think there's been conflicting reports on this, but I think what people are failing to grasp is they are rating games based on the channel, I guess you could say. And so this past weekend, Colorado was the most watched game on Fox, but the second most watched game in all of college football. According to Sports Media Watch, Texas and Alabama had 8.76 million, and then Nebraska and Colorado had 8.73 million, which when you consider the magnitude of those matchups, Texas Nebraska was number 11 versus number 4, winner, or number 3, winner of that game probably claims a spot in the playoff early on in the season, if there is such a thing, claiming a spot in the playoff, but gives them a big win on the resume. And then you go down to Colorado, Nebraska, a rivalry game. Colorado's a ranked team. Nebraska's an unranked team, but I think a lot of people were still interested to see Coach Prime and company kind of face off against what was supposed to be a really good defense, and they had really good defensive moments. I won't lie to you. They got to Shedeur very often. They held Colorado scoreless for the first quarter, So I think there was a lot to be interested about in this game. There was a lot of buildup with Matt Rhule and Coach Prime going head to head, and realistically, Colorado blew them out of the water. They had a far better team, but then those two matchups, or those two games, 8.76, 8.73, very big. Then you drop off over nearly 5 million, 4 million views, 4.02 million Texas A&M and Miami, 3.3 million, 3.38 million Iowa State. So Colorado is literally one of the most popular programs in the country right now, and I don't think that's going to change. And it's not going to change for a while now, because if you look at their schedule, I don't know if they're going to continue to get the viewership this weekend because they're playing Colorado State, but I imagine they're still going to get a lot of people watching, especially since it's on game day and big noon. But after Colorado State, they go to a number 13 Oregon, then they play number 5 USC. I think those games are going to probably do absolute numbers, which if you're the Pac-12, you're kind of just like, what did we do wrong? And I'll get to that a little bit later because obviously there's a lot to talk about in the Pac-12, but it's hard to not be in on Colorado. And I think besides the people that are wanting him to fail, I think a lot of people are genuinely excited with what Coach Prime is doing in Colorado. And how could you not be? He's basically resurrected a program that has been irrelevant for decades. And now he's made them not only relevant, but they're good. And I think I always say the worst thing you could be is irrelevant and bad. Well, the best thing you could be is relevant and good. And Colorado is doing just that. They're going to host Boo Carter for a visit pretty soon here. A lot of recruits are picking up interest in Colorado at the moment. Boo Carter, if you guys don't remember, was a 4-star athlete who committed to Tennessee. He's from Tennessee. Colorado was in on him, and they were hoping that they could get him, but they ended up obviously losing out to Tennessee. So I think the success is something that a lot of recruits are looking at, and they're like, oh, I didn't realize this was going to happen so fast. I really should go to Colorado, and I can't blame them. I think there was an allure to play for Coach Prime because he obviously knows a lot. He's very popular, very in touch with the younger generation. But now people are recruits are like, oh, he's like legit good. Like this team is legit good. This program is trending up. I think nobody wanted to be like the first, like I'm going to go be that guy there. But now that they're winning and stuff, it's only going to attract more guys, which is great for the program. Great for Coach Prime and his recruiting, and it's exciting for Colorado fans. But yeah, everyone is in on Colorado. They continue to be one of the most watched teams and most talked about teams in college football. So you have to applaud his efforts there because I don't know if we've ever seen Colorado as popular as it is now. What else is popular is Game Time. If you need tickets for any event, whether it's sports, music, comedy, theater, and you want a killer deal on a last-minute ticket and the best price guarantee, stop stressing over these tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have with Game Time. Browse through the Game Time app and look up upcoming events in your area, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, whatever it may be. They have flash deals, last-minute tickets. They're easy to find, and you can buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. You don't have to plan months in advance and be like, okay, so-and-so's playing on December 2nd. You could literally go on December 2nd, December 1st, and be like, I want to go to this game. And they'll have last-minute tickets for you. You get images of your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. You can buy tickets in a matter of seconds. It takes 2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you don't have to dig through your email. You don't have to worry about getting up to the scanner and be like, oh, I don't have the tickets. So snag these tickets without stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. We're back talking about Matt Rhule and Shedeur Sanders. Obviously, Colorado beat up on Nebraska this week, and there was a lot of things that had to be said before and after the game, apparently. Let me give you guys a little insight on the ongoing beef that we've seen. Because after the win, Shedeur Sanders told the media how personal the win was because of what Matt Rhule was saying about his dad. So he said, and this is after the game, after they won 36-14, he balls out, throws for like 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. It was extremely personal. We go out there to warm up. You got the head coach from the other team trying to stand in the middle of the Buffalo logo in the middle of the field. It's okay if a couple players do it, but when your whole team trying to do it to disrespect it, then I'm not going for it at all. I went in there and disrupted it. The Buffaloes mean a lot to me. That's when I knew it was extreme disrespect. And then he also had talked about Matt Rhule saying things about his father. But Matt Rhule basically is denying that it was out of disrespect and says, we do it at every stadium. I asked Shedeur if he wanted to pray with us. We just took a moment as a team. I want that field to be safe for everybody. And then this is what Shedeur had to say about Matt Rhule, kind of taking shots at his father doing the transfer portal thing, even though I would say Nebraska fans are kind of claiming he didn't because he didn't say Coach Prime's name. I think sometimes in life we can put 2 and 2 together. We don't always have to be like Kevin Borba said this. Like if someone was referring to me in a frequent discussion and they go, he said, or like that person said, like, I think we know who they're talking about. But this is what he said, Shedeur said about Matt Rhule. The coach said a lot of things about my pops, about the program, but now he wants to act nice. I don't respect that because you're hating on another man. You shouldn't do that. So all respect was gone for them and their program. And then Matt Rhule also responded to that, saying, I'm coaching this team's class and I'm not changing. I went over there and shook the man's hand. And I will never disrespect an opponent a day in my life and never will. Or I never disrespected an opponent a day in my life and never will. So clearly, this rivalry is something that needs to go on every single year. I think, and I don't think this is a case of he said, or whatever. I think they each thought they were doing the right thing. I'm not going to pick sides. I feel like I will say Matt Rhule did take shots at Coach Prime. It was one I was the one that tweeted about it and kind of I won't say like got it going, but like there's a video. I want to say when the transfer portal opened during spring, and someone was asking Matt Rhule about it, and he's like, you know what? Some programs are excited about the transfer portal, and this is me paraphrasing. I don't remember the exact quote. I'm not excited about the transfer portal. I'm excited to coach my guys. Whereas Colorado was posting like we're not hard to find, and Colorado was making it evident that they were going to be active in the portal, which they were, and they brought in a bunch of good guys. And so there's just been this ongoing beef, and I think realistically, Matt Rhule's kind of playing the victim here in a way, in a sense where it's like, I didn't say that, or I didn't directly like he technically never said Coach Prime only cares about the transfer portal. But when everyone in college football is talking about a certain coach using the transfer portal, and then you go out of your way to make a comment about using the transfer portal and how you don't care about using the transfer portal and you're excited to coach your guys, then I would say it's kind of like a little jab. It doesn't have to be direct, and I think that's what a lot of people are missing or kind of ignoring. But you can't tell people how to, I guess, comprehend things. By the way, guys, college football season is here, and Locked On is kicking up our coverage with Locked On College Football Kickoff Live. Each Friday, Locked On will go live from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern on every Locked On College YouTube channel. I was on there last Friday. College Football Kickoff Live will cover plenty of playoff implications, the conference rivalry games, and go in depth like only Locked On can, including insight and analysis from our stable of Locked On College hosts covering their team every day. Find Locked On College Football Kickoff Live every Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern on any Locked On College YouTube channel. You won't want to miss it. I was on last weekend talking about, of course, Colorado and what I thought they were going to do to Nebraska, which I said double-digit victory. Here we are. They're 2-0 with a double-digit victory over Nebraska. So I would say I'm 1-for-1 on predictions. I missed the TCU game completely, but it happens. But yeah, back to Nebraska, Shedeur, and all this. I think there was shots fired at Coach Prime. It's hard to tell if he asked him to pray because that's the only thing that him and Shedeur would know. But obviously, Shedeur did not approve of the Nebraska players standing on Buffalo. That's the video you see on Twitter of him flexing the watch in their face. Not really sure what was exchanged between them verbally because obviously it wasn't there. It wasn't on the field with them. But I do like the intensity that this is adding to the rivalry. It feels personal, one might say. But in seriousness, I think it's a good thing because honestly, college football rivalries are one of the sacred things that we have left in the game with realignment and stuff. So and we got to treasure every single one that we have. Otherwise, by the time we go back to treasure, it'll be a long time or it'll be gone. So treasure these rivalries while we still can and enjoy the ride. I think everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I do think that Matt Rhule is a little more in the wrong than Shedeur is here. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by FanDuel. Let me tell you about FanDuel. Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. So go visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL. We are back concluding this episode talking about the Pac-12. I think, especially now that Colorado is Big 12 bound and we don't really think about, I guess, what we don't really care about the Pac-12 anymore, I guess people would kind of say about Colorado. But the Pac-12 is legit going insane right now. They have 8 ranked teams. Let me go through them real quick. Obviously, Colorado's number 18, but you have UCLA, Washington State, everybody. It seems like the entire Pac-12 is ranked. They literally have 8 of 12 teams ranked, which is insane. And I think it's kind of disappointing if you're the Pac-12 because you see all these teams ranked and you're like, wow, that's so cool. This conference is going to have a bright future, but they do not have a future. UCLA is ranked at 24th. They beat up on San Diego State. Washington State not only beat Wisconsin, but they made a case for like, oh, we deserve to be a Power 5. Colorado 18, Oregon State 16, Oregon 13. They escaped a tough one against Texas Tech. Utah 12, which Utah is impressive because they've been winning without their backup quarterback or without their starting quarterback and tight end, and had a lot of injury issues. Utah's at 12, Washington at 8, USC at 5. Whew. The Pac-12, what a place, what a place. But the Pac-12 is loaded, and I think realistically, it's going to be very sad to see this. This is the way it's conference, because I think a lot of people are like, at least this is a good way to go out. I think if you were the Pac-12 and if you had to pick whether you wanted to go out with a bang or go out with just like pure chaos and like, I feel like I'd go out with pure chaos. And you're probably like, that's crazy, but hear me out. We're going to look at this Pac-12 team or Pac-12 conference possibly have a playoff team. They have 8 ranked teams, which is more than anybody ever. Or not ever, but more than anybody. The most in Pac-12 history ever. And at the end of the day, it's not going to matter because USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington to the Big Ten, the 4 corner schools, including Colorado, to the Big 12, Stanford, Cal to the ACCs, Oregon State, Washington State are the only 2 left over, and it's going to end up being some hybrid. They're going to be some hybrid with the Mountain West Conference. So it's like, do we really like want this to be like? Obviously, it's great for college football, but it's disappointing that the Pac-12 was not able to maximize on this. I think had they, and I wrote about this the other day because it was a really interesting take. Had Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, been hired 2 years ago, and the media rights deals didn't expire this year but next year, I think the Pac-12 probably nets a media rights deal that's comparable to the SEC or the Big Ten, or at least they'd probably be the 3rd conference at worst, because they already have. And I think people are like, "Oh, that's crazy. Why would you say that?" The Pac-12, not that long ago, I won't say 2010 or 2011, 2012 maybe, in that range, they had the highest media rights deal. Their media rights deal was the best in college football. Their conference was popping, and I think had they had this success, Coach Prime, because obviously people are watching anything that he's a part of, the Pac-12 would have been saved. It would have been fine. But now here we are. We're about, we played 2 weeks. We're about 10 weeks from the Pac-12 no longer existing, which is just truly devastating for the conference. And you hate to see it go down like this. But Larry Scott, George Kliavkoff, who, mind you, Oregon State and Washington State have now filed a temporary restraining order against Kliavkoff and the Pac-12 conference. So, because they have a lot of legal matters and financial matters to settle with the conferences, they look to figure out what their future is, because obviously they still have a lot of unwritten or unsettled things. But the Pac-12 is loaded. That's what I came to talk about. Disappointing that they couldn't stay together, but if you're Colorado, you have to like your chances. Colorado does get to play a few of these teams. I think, let me pull this up. I wish I just remembered. Oh, right there. I wish I could just remember the schedule by the back of my hand, but I can't. Colorado has 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ranked teams left to play. Obviously, they play Oregon in a couple weeks, USC. Then they have UCLA and Oregon State back-to-back, and then they finish the year with Washington State, Utah. So obviously Colorado has a chance to make a statement. They can either make it to the playoff if they win it all, or they have a chance to contend for the Pac-12 title, which I think would be a fascinating move as well. Obviously, if they make it to the playoff, it would take a lot of winning. They'd have to go undefeated, which, I mean, that would be probably the best resume ever, I think, if they were to make it to the playoff. So be excited about this Pac-12 slate, because it's the last time that we're going to see it. It's the last time that a conference may be as loaded or deep as this one. And while people will be like, the SEC is deep, the SEC is not that deep this year. They have Georgia, Alabama's LSU's solid. But other than that, Arkansas, all right. Ole Miss went down to the wire with Tulane. Like, the SEC is not as deep as it used to be. I think the Big Ten is kind of just headlined by two brands. So enjoy this, enjoy the competition. It's going to be fantastic, and just enjoy every step of college football and Coach Prime, the Coach Prime experience. I enjoyed the Coach Prime experience, and I enjoy you guys helping me document the Coach Prime experience. I appreciate you guys for getting me to over 3,000 subscribers this past week. We're working our way up to 4 and 5. I appreciate that. We're going to have Life in Football, Collins Moore, come on this later this week. We're going to be talking about the Nebraska game and then look ahead to Colorado State. So you guys won't want to miss that. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and see you guys tomorrow.